Hello, friends. I'm Andrea Morris, and welcome to another edition of Spill the Wine, our podcast, which is obviously about wine. We've been busy debunking myths that wine is pretentious, and we are here for a repeat visit to Kacaba. And because we have a new winemaker here, Mr. Chris Robinson. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for joining our podcast. I'm really interested to hear your take on winemaking and what it's like for you to be working here at Kacaba.
So I love it, actually. Working at Kacaba, working in the wine industry. I've been doing it for 20 years now. Last year was harvest number 20. And over the years, I started in 2006. I've had many mentors in the wine industry that are still making wine to this day, or they're owners of the wineries in Ontario. And my philosophy, or however you call it, it kind of evokes a lot of everything that I've learned from those core mentors that I've had in my career. So obviously, being cleanliness in the cellar is an important one. I feel like winemaking is about 95% of the time you're a janitor. You're just cleaning up after everything. So being clean and meticulous like that, you have cleaner ferments. Your cellar is always clean, so it looks good. But that's really important. And I'm not a dirty winemaker, so everything has got to be super clean. I'll filter things. I've done unfiltered, but I also trial different yeast strains. I'll do the natural or the wild ferments, whether it's primary or secondary fermentation with the malolactic. And there's still so much to learn. I feel like after 20 years, I feel like even 20 years down the road, I'm still going to be learning something. I'm still going to be doing experiments. Whether the consumer gets to try those experiments or not, I'm still going to do that and have my rendition of it and put it into bottle. If it doesn't work out, it can get blended away kind of thing. But the land is also the other really important thing. Here at Kacaba, we are going to our sustainability certification. So with the vineyard and the winery, and that's actually going to be in 2 weeks, we have our audit. And so we're already farming in a sustainable way. I mean, farming is sustainable. And then so that's really important for Michael Kacaba, the owner, to be sustainable.
What does that mean? For the average listener?
So sustainability, there's basically three main pillars to it. One is the sense of place. So you're leaving something behind for the next generation. The other one is cost. You have to be having a business. You need to be sustainable in the sense of you're not going to have a massive expense. And having a vineyard in Ontario is expensive. But there's ways around that. You can try to save costs. You're not trying to skip steps. That's another thing that you don't want to do. Even with my philosophy is what you have to do tomorrow, you do it today. And then the third pillar is your community. So, your neighbors, do you give them notice if you're spraying? Do you give them notice if you have events? How do you donate money to the community, which we do? So there's all that stuff that's really important within the sustainability. And then on top of that, with Kacaba, so that's what sustainability is basically in a nutshell. There's a lot more things down the road, like doing that certification and doing the form online. It's very overwhelming for anybody who's looking at it, for doing it. But it is really important. It's one of our core values here. We have two wines that are in the LCBO, and this is our sustainable brand. So we have our unoaked Chardonnay and our Cabernet that on the side of the label, it says sustainable. So it's nice that we can now really, having that certification on the back of our label, we can kind of tie it in, which we already have been doing sustainable practices in the winery and in the vineyard. So it's really easy for us to get that certification, to get that ball moving, and we'll keep it going that way as well. And So yeah, that's what that is.
So how did you end up at Kacaba?
So long story short,
I applied and I got a job.
Yeah, basically. So I was in 2024. I was just coming out of a job at the birth of Le Clos Jardin over at the Angels Gate property, working under Thomas Batchelder, who you obviously interviewed.
Yes.
And he's also one of very good friend and one of my mentors as well. For the terroir, for the Chardonnay, for the Pinot, his Gamay. I mean, we all try and we joke with them he should probably do a Cab Franc, but then he's worried that he's going to just have way too many SKUs or way too many wines.
He did mention you in our interview, by the way.
Yeah, did he? Yeah. He's a great guy. I actually live 7 houses down from him now. I just bought a place in Fonthill, so we're neighbors. So I was just coming out of Le Clos, and I was off work for about a month and a half. I did some traveling to Portugal and stuff like this, and there was no jobs. That's the hard part, was that there's no jobs, and there was no winemaking jobs. And I'm at the point in my career, last couple of years, I'm like, I want to do it myself. I want to be my own boss. I don't want to have have a chief winemaker is fine, but I want to be able to make the calls and do everything that I want to do. And I'm ready for it. So literally met with Vadim maybe a month before, and he was saying he was thinking about putting his resignation in, and then he told me that he was leaving, and I called him up, and I'm like, basically asked for his blessing, whether it's just me being nice, and we're also good friends, so. Called him up, and I asked if I could, how he thought about if I applied, and he's like, I'll hand the resume to him myself. And then, so that night, I got home and I was preparing my CV, and I had an email from Sue-Ann's staff that she got an email from Michael Kacaba looking for if she knew anybody that could be qualified for a winemaking position, and she said in the email, the only person I know that is currently looking and that you want is Chris Robinson. And so I was already in the middle. So I was already in contact. And then I obviously dropped the resume off, came in for the interviews. And it was about a month or so process, which is reasonable because, Kacaba is a very prestigious premium winery, focusing on basically all reds. And they dabble a little bit in whites and stuff like this. But what really drew me to wanting to work, not only that it would keep me in Ontario, because I was going to go back to Western Australia and Margaret River. And I don't know if I would have come back if I didn't find Kacaba. And, but my favorite grape from day one has always been Syrah. And that's what drew me to Kacaba right off the bat. The Syrah is such a unique varietal in Ontario, in Canada as itself. Our weather doesn't normally allow of grape vines of like Syrah to survive winter. And this site that we're on right now that you're looking out, there's about a third of our vineyard, I would say, is planted in Syrah. And we have original plantings from California that Michael brought over in 1996 was the first planting.
Wow.
And at this point, there's been earlier plantings in Niagara, but they don't exist anymore. And so Niagara Lake, there's not a lot of older spots that grow Syrah. And these are the oldest vines now in, I would say, Eastern Canada. And I would bet even all of Canada. Unless there's someone else in the BC that's planted before 96 that are still in production. And we have 4 main clones in our block, 2 of which don't exist anymore. They're California Clone 1 and Clone 100. And Michael brought them over from California. The other ones are all coming from France. And we have them all, both clones, or all clones are on both rootstocks, which plays it's really important to see which rootstock work. There's SO4 and 3309. SO4 is really great for the thicker soils, like clay soils, and the roots will go really, really deep. Where 3309 kind of stays a bit on the top, and there's vigor differences and stuff like this, and fruit sets and stuff like that.
Chris, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you talking about grafting? Like you have a different root and the clone, or
so every vine in Ontario is grafted, basically, like vinifera. I don't think there's any vinifera that's not been grafted, and it's because of this whole phylloxera. So basically, a phylloxera is a disease that eats away at the root and at the trunk. And France basically almost lost their entire vintage, and that's why we started getting French vinifera, if I'm not mistaken. We sent over North American rootstock, and that's how we started that. So a lot of way back in the day, like 25, 30 years ago, they were called Suitcase vines. So people were literally owners of wineries or growers were going to France, and at the time, nothing was really regulated. So you could fill a suitcase full of clippings. So there are, especially in California, you can have DRC clippings or canes that are the same clone is being planted in California, and like up in the Carneros, or if you're in the Russian River. So there's plantings, like there's clippings like our rootstocks, like not rootstocks, but clones all over. But yeah, so when I'm talking about the vine, so we have different clones. There's every varietal, whether it's Chardonnay to Syrah to even, Viognier, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc. There are many, many different clones. Pinot has a lot of them, actually. And they're all relatively different. So there's different fruit set, how vigor it can be, the size of the berry, the thickness of the skin, and then the flavor can come out too. So some can be more mineral driven, some can be more structure, more mid palate, or like yielding is another one as well. So we have different rootstocks, and mainly at the beginning it was for example, we're talking about Syrah, it was Clone 1 and Clone 100. And then when it wasn't available, basically you go to the next thing. And there's a chart. Like when I was looking at planting, doing some replants for our Syrah, there's probably a good 20 different types of vines for Syrah, different clones. And then there's like 4 different rootstocks that you can choose from. So you have to look at your site. You have to look at what clones you want to use, and some are in production and some are the classic style. So you have to look at that as well. So we have one that's called 470. We have one that's called 471. And then there's 472, 474.
It's like secret agent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's it's pretty wild with that. And I forget where I was going with this.
But the reality is, it's like the average person coming to a winery and drinking wine has no idea that all of this goes into what goes into the bottle.
Yeah.
It's
Sorry to cut you, but that was the first time I heard the roots were different than, like you were talking about specific root clones versus the vine clone. That's what I was like, wait a minute.
So you
mind blown.
Yeah, so you have to kind of match them up. And that's the cool thing. Like in my 20 years, I've done a little bit of, prior to Kacaba, I'm overseeing the vineyard here. We have a consultant company that comes through. It's Roger Vale, Valemont Vineyards. And so they're a big grower, but they're helping us out around here. And they joined on last year with me. So it's not a micromanaging. I'm not trying to micromanage anybody, but I getting a good understanding of the vineyard and being in there to make sure that I have a crop. And it's really awesome. Like it's cool to be out there on, one day a week. Just before you guys came, we took the gator and we went through every other row a little bit just to see where we're at with the bud burst. So we're at like 25% bud burst. Most of the stuff is still it's still swelling up. And on most of the Syrah, the Viognier, it's already starting to like open up. The leaves are opening up, the buds. So we're probably like a week away, 2 weeks away from actual full-on bud burst. Yeah. And then that's that. It's been awesome. And so being in the vineyard prior to that was very small amount. I think I spent a year and a bit when I was at Chateau de Charmes, when Paul Sr. was still alive. We did some pruning, especially in the pandemic. We couldn't get the guys over, up the migrant workers up from Mexico. So we were the ones in the vineyard pruning like, I don't know, 40, 50 acres ourselves. And so you got to learn that, and you're learning from like one of the pioneers, right? And it's, you soak it, you're a sponge, you're just soaking it all up. And that experience, I always will remember it. Like, even when I'm pruning here, we did a lot of pruning ourselves here. We're kind of convert between cane pruning, which is what you see outside, 2 canes. We have a third one lining up that's as an insurance in case we have frost. So that will get cut in a couple weeks, but just before, just to make sure that we don't get any minus or 0 degrees. And but converting also from cane to spur pruning we're going. So this is the cordon with about 3 different spurs on it. So that is really difficult to do if you don't know what you're doing. And the crew that we had out here, for instance, they're very quick. They're so good. And they're very good at pruning. And when it came to spur pruning, they have no idea. So it's a very small group of people in Niagara that know how to spur. And for me, we're just doing trials to see, A, when we want to control vigor, especially in the Syrah, and also B, less time going through. So when you're doing cane pruning, you're in the vineyard, you're pruning it once, then you got to go down and tie it. That's the second time you're in the vineyard, and then a third time to cut that third cane, unless you want to tie it down. So by having it spur pruned, your spurs are already set on the cordon. And so that's it right there. You can go through one more time, and you can actually just knock buds off if you don't want a certain amount of fruit. And so you're limiting the pass that you're going through. And that's also sustainable, right? Like when you think about going backwards to that, like we're trying to save costs where we can, but also not jeopardize the quality. Because
you don't want too much fruit, because then it gets bunched together too much, right?
Together. So usually it's every bud that you see, and that can be on any vine, you get 2 bunches of fruit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you want to look at how the vine can the vine sustain that much load? If not, then you can just clip off the extra grape. And then the center of the canopy, you want airflow in the middle, so you don't want to have too many clusters there. So, and then that's when you go through and you de-leaf and all that stuff. But
so much agricultural knowledge you have to have in order to be a winemaker.
But that's the thing. It's like in the last, say, 15 years ago, if you asked me anything about the vineyard, I knew a little bit. Like I knew enough to have a conversation. But it's there's so many, you can go down the rabbit hole with that, and it's so much detail, and I absolutely love it. And I think any winemaker that's out in the field, they'll say the same thing.
Yeah, because it's your love of the grape from the inception
to
the bottle that really makes a difference.
Exactly. And it all starts there. It all starts here. So if you don't do what you need to do in the vineyard, and you spend all this time and all this money in the vineyard, and you don't get a crop, or things don't go well in the cellar, then what was the point?
Yeah.
Right? So everything is a continuous domino effect, basically. So, but it all starts there. That's the land. That's what we have to do. And this site at Kacaba, again, it's super unique. You'll see, you can see Taws from here, basically. Megalomaniac is up on the hill. You can see Lake Ontario. You can see Toronto. You can see the mist from Niagara Falls, actually, when it's on a clear day. You can see the mist coming up if you're on the top of the hill there. Vineland Estates is actually our neighbor. This is the Boutique Vineyard behind us. And a storm could literally come off of the lake, come up the hill, or up the escarpment, and it would just miss us completely. So they called for 40% chance of rain and thunder showers on Monday and Tuesday. We had nothing. It just missed us. And we were bottling, so I was worried that we were going to get rained on and stuff.
Didn't happen.
And it just went around us. It's super unique spot. And I think that is why we also have, we can grow Syrah, we grow Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and then we have a little bit of Viognier that's planted in the back by Michael's house. And this is for the Syrah until this year, where
you have a Viognier, which we're going to taste. Yay. So should we taste some wine?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
So what are we going to start off with?
So we just bottled 5 wines the last 3 days. So we have the new rendition of, or the new one, the follow-up with the 2023 Unoaked Chardonnay that's in the LCBO. So this is our $14.95 bottle of wine.
Now, is this one that you made?
So the one that we're tasting is the 2024. So 2024 is my vintage. It's the first from start to finish. The 2022 vintage or 2023, I didn't make it. This is Vadim. And I'm just there as to make sure that his vision went into a bottle.
Like babysitting it?
I did the blends and stuff like this for barreling. And then, my job was just to help it through, babysit it and put it to bed, basically.
Yeah. Cool. So the 2024 is an Unoaked Chardonnay.
Yes. So it has the vegan-friendly sticker on it. This is the sustainable label as well.
But isn't all wine vegan?
No, it's not all. No. So there's a lot of things that you can for additives, especially for fining, that is not vegan friendly. And everything at Kacaba that we do is vegan friendly. This one just has the sticker, and it's mainly just to get that market as well. I think it's important to show that we're not just sustainable, but we're also in that area where we're health conscious, or we're aware of other people's needs. So being vegan friendly, having a vegan friendly wine is no different of making it than having a non-vegan. You just use a different product, and it does the same thing. So if you do
a malolactic fermentation, is that considered not vegan then because of the milkish factor?
Well, this is the bacteria, and it's but that is a good question.
Thank you.
It's still vegan. It's just that's just the bacteria.
Okay.
It's milky because it smells like milk, but it's not. It's this is a secondary. This is another type of yeast. So.
Okay, gotcha. So we're gonna first start off with the 2024 Unoaked Chardonnay.
So these were just bottled again. This was Monday and Tuesday.
I love that.
But
we're like the first ones to taste these.
So you're literally the first ones to taste. So we have 4 whites, and we'll go into 2 reds. And so it's summer or spring. So
which I love because Kacaba is known for their reds, but we're doing mostly whites today, which is fun.
You can come back in August and we'll do the reds because we're going to be bottling the 23s. So
3 episodes with Kacaba.
It's an honor.
I don't mind.
This is really lovely.
Yeah, so this is stainless steel fermentation.
And usually I don't like Unoaked Chardonnays.
Yeah. I did there's a little bit of leaf stirring. I have 5 different parcels throughout Niagara. So growers that we've used in the past, the relationship with Kacaba, and then growers that I've had in the past that we just melded them in. This has about 22% Chardonnay Muscat in it as well. It's still Chardonnay, so we can still call it Chardonnay on the label. And this is the Chardonnay Muscat that's the Heather Laundry Chardonnay Muscat, if you're aware of Laundry Chardonnay from Southbrook. Or there's another one from Tawes, because they used to take it as well. But this is a 100% organic vineyard that's in this plot as well. Not that we want to go organic, but I thought it was really awesome that we could get this vineyard. And all the other vineyards, by the way, are all sustainable. They're all registered, or certified, I should say. So that's important because I was already thinking about getting us certified. So that was really important too. So working with great growers, again, we have about 4 different growers. Heather Laundry, we have Aaron Openlander, who supplied most of the fruit from Tudor Vineyard, which is in Niagara Lake. so 4 Mile Creek. We have Valemont Vineyard, which used to be the old Calamus site, which is on just down the street from here. It's Lincoln Lakeshore, Appalachian, right on Green Lane Road. We have another vineyard on Green Lane Road, which used to be the Grape King, Ed Hughes, and a parcel that he sold off a few years back, and Heather Laundrie is running that. So I've worked with this fruit in the past with sparkling, so that was a no-brainer. And the other fruit came from big grower Wismer. Greg Wismer supplied us. Wismer, yeah. It's not from his site; it's from a site that he manages, but it's in the escarpment. So it's just a top up, but it all really great fruit, came in super clean. We machine harvest everything, and then it goes into stainless steel and up until bottle. So it's super fresh.
It is. It's very crisp.
Yeah.
A little bit of almost honeydew, I think.
Honey, yeah, exactly. It's a great descriptor for it. There's a little bit of lees contact because I do stir the lees just after it's been finished. So I keep it on lees for a little bit. And that's giving me that mid palate, that little bit of oiliness that I love on Chardonnay. And then it's super fresh because it doesn't go through full mallow. It's completely dry as well, but just so there's no mallow. So there's about 5.5 grams of still of malic, and our TA on this is about 7.5, which is for me.
What does RTA mean?
So total acidity.
Okay.
So this wine is giving you a perception of sweetness, but it's not sweet. It's completely dry.
Yeah, it does have that perception of sweetness. That's why I said with the honeydew, it's like
this is the mallow, so not going through. So it's still zippy and fresh, and you still have that. You get the pear, you get the great fresh apples, and for a summer sipper, it's great. And so this isn't going to be released until the 2023 is fully out. And this is strictly an LCBO product. So it won't be in the winery? We don't sell it at the winery, no.
Oh, interesting.
It's only...
I feel very special having a sneak peek, but it's really nice. Like I said, it is very crisp. I really taste honeydew on that. I don't taste apple at all.
Yeah. Bit of acacia flower on it as well. Jasmine, hints of jasmine. And there's a bit of CO2 there as well, so it kind of has a nice little pop to it.
You know what?
But super fresh.
I'm such a snob sometimes when it comes to that, but that's a really nice unoaked Chardonnay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it also comes from the Chard Musqué because it's a very aromatic varietal, very, very, very floral. And so, it was fun to make, and having different ferments. So it wasn't all in just one tank; it was in 5 different tanks.
Yeah.
So you're babying. You have 5. You have 5 childs when you're during harvest. So you're monitoring each one, making sure that they're all happy and they're getting their food and they get the right temperature and all that stuff. So
don't misbehave.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes they do, and they get reductive ferments. That's also fermentation management or cap management if you're on reds. And that's what as a winemaker, it's kind of what your job is as well, is 24/7 for 3 months of the year, you're watching over all these wines, or every tank or every ferment or every single barrel. We have about 400 downstairs. Last year, we did about close to 150, 160 barrels that we barrel down. So you have, 150, 200 ferments happening.
Are you tasting from each bottle, from each barrel all the time to make sure?
Yeah, you can't taste every single one because you'd just be hammered every day, but you taste, you spit, and you just, tasting one, you can get an idea of like the entire batch. You have new oak and you have, neutrals and stuff like that, or even if it's ferments. Every tank though, you do taste every day, you smell it every day. You check your bricks, your temps. That will tell you kind of where you are. The bricks will tell you kind of where you are in the stage. And if you need to feed it or not with nitrogen, or basically you're babysitting. You're babysitting.
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain to someone outside of it that you don't have a life for 2 months, so don't plan anything. And it's the worst time to plan because we're so busy. But I've missed weddings, I've missed funerals, I've missed stuff like that just because of harvest, right? Like you just don't, this is your life, and I love it. I don't regret anything. So
well, that's a really great wine.
Thank you.
So yeah, So now we're going to try another one. Is this a new one that
So
you
this
made
is
as
another.
well?
This is another new one.
This is another one of yours.
Yep. So this is the 2024 Susan Sauvignon Blanc. So this is also not from our. Obviously, not. We don't grow Sauvignon Blanc.
No.
This is all from Niagara Lakeshore, appellation, and this fruit came from good friends of mine at Hinterbrook.
Oh, I love Hinterbrook.
Yeah, Violet and George.
Yeah.
And so they supplied us. The other portion of this property, of the Sauvignon Blanc, goes to Leaning Post, which is very nice. So we were very fortunate to get this Sauvignon Blanc, especially when we weren't, there was no plan to make a Sauvignon Blanc last year. And then we sold out of the 23. So we had to look.
You had to make one.
So we had to make one, which is great. But not in the week that everybody was picking it. So it was calling around, and we were having no luck. And I just was like, I know where I used to work. I used to work at Leaning Post back in the day in 2016. And I'm like, we took fruit from them. So called them up, and they're like, yeah, we've got it. And I'm like, perfect. And they had the leaders that we needed. And so we've labeled this one VQA Niagara Peninsula because a little bit of another vineyard that we'll get into next from Lincoln Lakeshore went into it, so it's not 100%. So we can't call it that. But this is from Niagara Lake site, so it's super fresh.
Yeah, it's really, again, it's like this one is a little citrusy, but it's also I feel like I'm tasting apricot on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of subdued just because we just bottled it.
Yeah.
Again, the CO2 is really great in it. This is 100% stainless steel ferment. It's low alcohol. It's about 12.5%.
This would be nice, a little slightly chilled.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's warm now, but it still tastes wonderful. But again, listener, we all have different palates. What I'm tasting, you might not be tasting or smelling. But
absolutely.
I'm definitely getting apricot on this.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It was a great ferment. Sauvignon Blanc's finicky because it can get reductive. So most of the time at the winery, I would have the lid open on the tank, and that would help with the aeration and the reduction. And so with this Sauvignon, because we have two Sauvignon Blancs, one's done in the Fumé style, which we're going to try next, but I wanted to make sure that the profile was where I wanted. So the Susan Sauvignon Blanc, the one we're trying, this is more of like a fresher style. So this is like, it's not New Zealand. I would say it's like, well, I guess it could be New Zealand, but it reminds me a little bit of also Niagara Sauvignon Blanc. It has a little bit of greenness to it, which I do love. And these are thials, and I really expressed it. And with selective yeast. But it reminds me of a cool climate Sauvignon Blanc, but from Australia, actually. And it reminds me a little bit of, it has this like honey, it has this like honeyness to it as well. And I get the apricot for sure. But it's more of that grassy, but not New Zealand grassy.
No, but having said that, I taste the grass on the back of my...
And the soil that this is from, it's very sandy in Niagara Lake.
Apparently, I really like this because I keep drinking it.
So this is like, it's almost gone.
Yeah, it's almost gone. It's just so light and refreshing.
Super light, refreshing. Yeah. It's dry as well. Yeah. Also no mallow. Mm-hmm. So there's no...
It's a great summertime wine because you could like chill that slightly and sit on a patio and be like, oh my God, my bottle evaporated. What happened?
Yeah, and it's dangerous because it just goes down so smooth.
Yeah, but it's really refreshing. I like that a lot. Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
High five.
Yeah, that's one of my babies, and this is actually going to be. I think it's already in the retail, but $24.95 for this for the Sauvignon Blanc.
You just bottled it and it's already in retail.
It's just more of like it's in the system. But we did about 450 cases of this.
It's fantastic.
So it was great.
It's a great summertime wine, but by the time this airs, it'll be almost end of summer, so it's perfect.
Yeah, I hope it's...
then it'll be a great fall wine.
That's true. I mean, I agree with you that it needs to be chilled, and this is just like a cellar.
I think I don't think it needs to be too cold. I just think, like I wouldn't throw an ice cube in, but I think it just needs to be chilled for just a tiny little bit. But the flavors are still beautiful, and it's a really great wine. I'm excited to see what our Fumé is.
So this is the third glass. This is our Fumé Blanc. So we've given it a vineyard designation as well on the label. So this is Shuley Vineyard. Martin Shuley, he's a grape grower for 30 years. He's probably even longer. But these are the old vines that come from this property. And so these are 30-year-old vines. I have the whole list of the clone and the rootstock that he had it and the row spacing. Like, he's super knowledgeable. And the fact that we could get this fruit, I was over the moon. And so when we put the call out to try and find this Sauvignon Blanc, the week that everybody was picking it, literally everybody was picking it. So, and normally you have your contracts and everything set up months before. So this is like end of September, right? So super hard to find it. And we called around, and through our vineyard management team, I get a phone call from them, and they're like, "Hey, he's looking for some Sauvignon Blanc." I'm like, "Yeah, I could use a bit more, right? Like, I have enough for the Susan Sauvignon Blanc, which came from Niagara Lake." And I said, "Well, where's the vineyard?" He's like, "It's coming from just down the road, Lincoln Lakeshore, Shuley Vineyard." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll take that." So this is
I don't care. I'm not paying for it.
There was no premium on it. It's machine picked as well, but it's picked with a New Holland, so it was like pearls when it came to us. And this vineyard is I've never worked with it, but I've only ever tasted it. Arterra gets a lot of it, and then Hansberger they make a Shuley Vineyard Chard Sauvignon Blanc as well, but young vine.
What's a Fumé Blanc?
So Fumé just means smoked white.
Oh, okay.
So in California, I think it was the kind of started with as I was told, Robert Mondavi. He had a hold of this Sauvignon Blanc. It wasn't really moving as fast. And so he put it in, but he would do barrel ferment. And so he was like, well, the French have Sancerre, and they know it's Fumé Blanc. They call it Fumé Blanc over there, but they don't put it on the label. And then he came over here and was like, well, let's just call it Fumé Blanc. And boom. That's the craze of Fumé Blanc.
Fumé Blanc.
So it's
white smoked.
Smoked white. White smoked, yeah. And so it's barrel fermented, this wine. We only had 1,400 liters of it. That was it was a very small amount. We had just over 2 tons. And so we barreled it, we fermented it. We started to ferment it in tank. And then as soon as the ferment started rocking, I barreled it down. And so it's 100% barrel fermented. So it's 70% is puncheant, so large format, 500 liter barrique. So it's less exposure to the wood, but you have more surface area. Mm. So it's really great for lees contact.
You can taste the barrel on this. Like vanilla.
Yeah, there's some vanilla, caramel. Yeah. 15% of this is new French oak, and then 15% is second fill acacia, which isn't oak, it's wood. So this is black locust. This is native to North America. This is French acacia. And
this is really nice.
It's a yellow wood, so it actually kind of helps stabilize color, and it's very floral. There's no tannin, there's no lignin or lagitanin in that wood, so there's not a lot of freshness it brings, but I don't need it because the wine is so fresh. You can taste this like limestone. You feel the salinity, like it just on the tip of your tongue. It's almost like you took some salt, right?
Not as much as the cement barrel stuff we had earlier.
Oh yeah, the concrete?
Yeah, the concrete. Yeah. Cement.
It's cool because those tone down acid as well, right?
Well, you know what? Like literally, we had it was the Sauvignon Blanc, wasn't it, from the concrete, and it was so salty.
Yeah,
it tasted like I was on the ocean.
That's very cool.
It was really cool. Like it was the first time I'd ever had anything like that. It was so cool. That was from Hidden Bench.
Wow. Oh yes. That Sauvignon Blanc is so good, and kudos to Alex because that's where you had it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Alex was talking all about it.
And that's the Fumé Blanc, right? That's what he has, right? Does he call it Fumé? He
called it a Sauvignon.
Oh, yeah. But there's one that he does, and I think it's just called Fumé, or it's Fumé Blanc, but it has a bit of semi on it.
I can look and see.
And it is
I wrote it
spectacular. But it reminds me a lot, that wine in particular is beautiful.
It's so
great
beautiful.
For the price point too. And it reminds me a lot of Margaret River, because I spent 6 months in Australia, and I was making wine for a very small premium producer that was...
Beton.
Yes, the Beton.
Beton.
Okay, yeah. So that's got I think it's got Semi on it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a Sauvignon Blanc Beton.
Wicked. Yeah, that's a wicked wine.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. And Margaret River, what part, is that near Perth or is that?
Yeah, so it's 3 hours south of Perth, which is the longest city in the world.
Wow.
On the coast. So it's all along the Indian Ocean. And so I spent 6 months there covering a mat leave, which was awesome. It was a mat leave for the winemaker at Fraser Gallup was the name of the winery. Mm-hmm. And the Fraser Gallup, as a little background, they do about 150 tons, which is kind of what we do here. But they do everything from it's basically Chardonnay. Chardonnay is like what flows through everyone's veins in Margaret River.
Yeah.
And then it's Cabernet Sauvignon. This vineyard in particular had Chardonnay, and they were also doing iced pressed Chardonnay. So they were actually putting it into reefers at we went down to even minus 16. Basically, it's 3 days, and we're mimicking ice wine. But you can't call it ice wine, so they call it ice pressed. And there's only like 2 or 3 wineries in Australia that make an ice pressed Chardonnay. And so we did that. And I went over as the ice wine specialist. That's how I got my visa in like 20 days. But I spent 6 months there under covering winemaker Ellen Tritt and working under chief winemaker Clive Otto, who basically started Vas Felix, which is the first winery in Margaret River, and put its name on, like, his wines are top 100 Wine Spectator, 100 pointers from Parker, 100 pointers from Wine Spectator, like Decanter, 100 points, like world-class Chardonnay at $120 a bottle, world-class Cabernet at $120 a bottle. So that was an eye-opening for me. And then just fermentation management just blew my mind. I thought I saw everything working with, as I did 10 years with Andrei Lipinski, where we were with Organized Crime, Megalomaniac, Foreign Affair, Burning Kiln, Culinary, did some stuff with Cornerstone. And then Big Head is the new venture that Andrei has he's still doing other stuff for other smaller wineries.
I think he worked with Dim for a while too.
Yeah, he had Dim. Yeah, so it's I thought I saw it all with Lipinski, and then I went and worked with Ilya Senchek, and then I saw another side, and then I went and worked with another friend of mine, Adam Kern, and then I saw the meticulous side. Like, everything's a detail, everything's a decision on blending. Blending is a decision for, like, 1% could make or break it. And so that I got honed into me as well. So I'm already super OCD as it is. And so Adam made me even more. Adam has the extra C. He has OCCD. Great guy. He was my roommate in college. We're one of my best friends, and super talented.
But I love that you're like that. I love the way you talk about it, because it's just like the average person just goes and buys a bottle of wine and has no idea that all this goes into that.
Oh yeah.
That there's so much that goes into making wine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you second guess yourself, and that's where you kind of look back and go, okay, no, this is the direction I need to be. I can't move this boulder down this hill. This is another analogy that another mentor of mine has taught me. And so it's like, you can't move that boulder and it's up top of the hill, but you can move it. You can't move it physically, but you can move it by, digging a trench or doing something.
Yeah.
But you can get it to that spot, but you won't get a direct line. There's no way. It will crush you.
But sometimes, like, I remember one day having a conversation with Vadim, and he was like, sometimes you just have to let the wine be what the wine wants to be.
Exactly. That's a great way. Yeah.
You can't do anything, but just let the wine be what the wine wants to be.
Yeah. And in the wine business, there's always something that happens. So you always have to have, like, you think a day is going to go smooth. Well, the last minute, something's going to go.
Thank God you can drink it.
That's why it's nice to taste these wines, because, like, it's all this hard work. And it's red because it's all my blood.
There you go.
Literally.
Okay, Syrah, Syrah. I had to say it.
Hurrah, Syrah.
Hurrah, Syrah, yeah.
I like that. We should do a shirt. T-shirt for
You
that.
should have a bracelet that says that you have Syrah in your blood, so if you're at the hospital.
Well, I have a
your blood type is Syrah.
That's actually pretty. So it's so there's actually a guy that's there through Margaret River that I met. He introduced me to a Canadian that's actually in Japan making wine, and he's just outside of Nagano. He's a J-pop artist there.
Oh.
And his name is Blaze Plant. And he has plant. So Blaze like Blaze. He's from Ottawa. And you can look him up. So Plant Vineyards. And I was only through email and only through a little bit of conversation. He comes into Canada once in a while. I have never met him fully face on, but he hooked me up with a good friend of his that had another vineyard. He's so small. Like this guy's like, I want to say he maybe makes 1,000 cases a year, if that. Like he's not a big. But there was another one that was that he knew that he was going to set me up with, but it just never worked out. So, but they have wine there, and the Japanese, when they do something, they do it to the fullest of OCD. So we net our vineyards every row. Like we have each side of the panel, it's all netted, and that keeps the birds out. They net every individual grape cluster. Individually. And you can look it up, and you can actually
That's
see it.
That's a lot of work.
Or they'll have ones that they'll wear like these little white hats, these square white hats, and they'll put them over every single grape cluster, and that keeps the rain off of it so the bugs don't go in. And they have a very similar climate to us. So they have the frost, they have the snow, they have the sun, they have the humidity, which is our biggest thing in growing grapes, is that we're dealing with Mother Nature, but we're also dealing with high pressure.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of rainfall, and we don't have a lot of great airflow to get the moisture out, and then that's just the humidity is what kills us, right? So that's where a lot of our disease pressure comes from. Japan is the same, but you can go to Japan, and I want to do it, and it's you can go to a farm that just sell table grapes, and these things are like bigger than the largest olive you've seen, and they're netted also, and you'll pay close to 200 Canadian dollars for a cluster of grapes, but it's perfect. And
wow.
And they're like they're like a pinkish purple. So I think it's Koshi or Koshu is the grape, and it's beautiful. Like it's a wonderful wine. And I'm going to the UK in a couple weeks, and you can find Japanese wine at Hedonism or Hedonism, however it's called, in downtown London, which is like the wine shop.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm gonna grab a bunch of that to bring home.
Okay, I want to come over and taste it with you.
But it looks like Pinot Gris.
Yeah.
But it tastes like Semillon with a little bit of Chardonnay.
Kooky.
Yeah, it's wild.
Well, I've been sipping your Viognier while we've been talking.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just like moving ahead.
I know we have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time. So the Viognier, this is a first ever for Kacaba. And so super excited about it. We don't know. It's likely going to go to a wine club, and it's going to be first come, first serve.
Well, yay for me.
Yeah. But normally it's been added traditionally to the Syrah. So Michael is one of his loves is Syrah.
That's interesting that you would add Viognier to Syrah.
So it's a typical French Northern Rhone stylistic choice. Mm-hmm. And so they'll co-ferment Viognier skins, or the pulp of Viognier, or sometimes they'll add Viognier juice, or they'll add wine back. But there's a bit of Viognier that goes into some of the best Syrahs you'll ever have. And what it does is Syrah can sometimes have no mid-palate. It's sort of a donut in the sense. So as a winemaker, you're trying to build it, whether it's through the vineyard and through the winemaking side. And then if you're barreling it down, you're trying to build that mid-palate. I mean, it's there, but it's light. And so to get that mid-palate, that fruit, the Viognier is perfect for it. The skins are thick. It usually ripens around the same time as a Syrah. So you can pick it at the same time. The acid's really great and keeps it fresh. But the Viognier, for instance, it just has a thicker skin and it's pulpy. Like it's like a Syrah. Syrah actually has a bit of a thinner skin.
I really wouldn't think about like mixing a white wine with a red wine to.
So it's like we're talking like 5 to 8%.
Yeah, but still, I wouldn't think of that.
Yeah. So you do the co-ferment with it. And so I had with the 2024 vintage, I did the Silver Bridge and I did the Proprietor's Block. I did that with co-ferment with this Viognier. And the Terrace Vineyard, or I just did whole cluster, but this Viognier was machine picked purposely so I could get the juice.
Apparently I like it again.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's
super
like
fresh.
kind of buttery.
Buttery. So this is barrel fermented as well, and it's only in acacia. So again, I didn't want super fresh the tannin from the wood, but I also wanted that floral that you get from this honeysuckle floral that you get from fermenting in acacia.
But it's not that icky floral that I'm so technical, that icky floral that I get from Gewürztraminer sometimes, which is like that overpowering floral.
Like the rose hip,
yeah,
the rose.
I know, I hate that. But this is like
no, this is not like
floral.
that. This is not at all like that at all. This is the first Viognier that I've ever even made.
Wow.
I mean, it was easy because it wasn't easy, but I had one barrel, so it's kind of hard to screw it up in a sense, as long as, be true to my fermentation kinetics, but
so that's
it all worked well.
Limited edition, one barrel.
One barrel, less than that. We have 180 liters. There's 20 cases. There's whatever, how many bottles.
It's really nice though.
We're not going to release this for probably at least a month or maybe 2. We're not sure yet. I've seen the label design. It's beautiful. It's going to be a limited series is what we're going to call it. Every bottle will be numbered, hand numbered, and maybe even hand signed by Michael. I'm going to try and get him to do it, but who knows? I'm already talking to Dave. If Dave listens, he's probably going, no, we don't do that.
he's like, Chris, just shut up. No, it's not going to happen.
To have the fingerprint of Michael's fingerprint is going to be on the label
that
too
would be
for
really
his
cool.
his approval.
Yeah.
But it's just a small run that this is literally going to be available, like I said, to wine club members. Which, honest to God, if you're not a wine club member at Kacaba,
by the time you hear this episode, you might be out of luck.
The deal is crazy. Like, actually is crazy. I'm not a club member because I make the wine, but if I wasn't a club member, and I knew about the deal, I would be thinking about it. So
yeah,
you can just come to the winery and just check it out. That's all. That's my plug.
Well, and I would say, as a wine club member myself, it is fantastic because you get so many benefits as well.
Oh, there's events like every 2 months. There's events.
Yeah, there's events every 2 months, and it's also like you get amazing deals on these beautiful wines. And
yeah, so this
occasionally you get to have a cellar tour with you.
Yeah, that's true. Like,
but you know what?
The pre-release sales are alone just worth to do it, and you're only committed for like per month, but sign up for at least 2, so you get at least one wicked event that you get tasting pairings with 3 wines with food pairings that is.
Oh yeah, there's one
Zuma.
coming up too. Yeah. Anyways, right now I'm like sitting here like inhaling the smell of this beautiful Pinot Noir, which Pinot Noir, I'm going to be honest with you, is one of my favorite wines.
Yeah, and then you have a high standard because you tried Thomas's, in which they're all different and they're all great, right? And it's just like I think
Thomas's Pinot Noirs, like honestly, you drink them and you just basically have this moment where you want to just lie down on the couch and go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and
they're so good,
so good. And same with same thing like. You might like one day than the next. And he always compared, and we always had this conversation, even we still do, but at Le Clos specifically, in getting me up to speed on the terroir of Le Clos. So like tasting between Claystone and the Grand Clos. And every time I was like, I really like this Claystone. Like I love the minerality to it. I love this chalky thing that happens to it. And he was like, yeah, you do your thing, man. You do your thing. That's Thomas. Like, you do you. And it wasn't like, I'm like, well, what? And he's like, you should like the one that you like.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I feel like every wine, even the ones that we're trying, or even Thomas's wines, for example.
I love
You'll
Beam
like
City.
ones.
Beam City is like.
Yeah, I think it was the Hill of Hill or something like
that. Oh
this.
yeah, that's one
that is great.
But I can afford Beam City. The Hill of Hill is like...
I can't afford any of it. I just take a loan. It's called a loan. It's a write-off.
It's like, Thomas, could I be your slave for a week?
Yeah. Right?
His wines are spectacular. But Beam City's affordable because it's only $40.
Yeah. So this, I don't know. Oh, this is $34.95. This Pinot Noir. So this is, obviously we don't grow Pinot Noir at Kacaba. We have to outsource, and Vadim sourced this not just from Niagara, he sourced it from Lake Erie North Shore.
Oh.
So it's actually more southern than we are.
Yeah.
They're hotter. They are also colder. And so this Pinot Noir is from Oxley Cellars, if you've heard of the winery. Mm-hmm. And so we barreled down 8 barrels of this as a reserve. And we chose some different barrels, maybe some new as well. But there's a lot of cherry. It's very mineral, like super mineral driven.
I can totally taste the minerality on it.
But there's a lot
there's still
great fruit there. It's like red fruit. So you get the cranberry, you get the pomegranate acid. I find that it's like, it's pretty good there.
For sure. Yeah.
But does it ever, it's interesting because I love Pinot, but it's not Niagara Pinot.
No.
But it reminds me of it's kind of like the county, and if Niagara had a baby, it's Prince Edward or Lake Erie North Shore, or Lens as they call it. Their history of growing grapes is just as old as Niagara.
That's really nice. But moving on to another beautiful color, gorgeous color of this Reserve Syrah.
Yeah, so this is the 2022 Reserve Syrah from our site. So this is a blend of all 3 Syrah blocks. So we have the Silver Bridge block, which was the 96 planting, the Terrace block, which is also the 96 planting, which we have to go in. Terrace Vineyard, for those that don't know, as an example, we have to go in by hand. So this is all hand-picked. Because the rows are on a terrace, you can't get a over the row harvester down. It would literally fall down. So
that wouldn't be good.
No. So everything is all hand done in the terrace, and then the third portion of it, which is the majority of it, is the proprietor's block, which was planted in, I want to say 98, 99.
Wow.
Yeah. So just
I've
right
always
after.
loved proprietor's block.
It's always been. So it's cool because when you come to the winery and you see it and you see the site, you can literally see it from here. Like Silver Bridge is the rows that face the Silver Bridge that you go over.
Yeah.
And the terrace rows are clearly the terrace rows. It goes up to, there's about 6 or 7 rows that go up onto the hill, but they're shorter rows and they kind of meander and weave and through our escarpment creek there. And then the proprietors block are those rows are all east-west basically, or kind of east-west, and the other ones, the Silver Bridge is north-south.
It's such a beautiful property. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you know what? It's really cool to just sit out here with no one else around except for someone just ringing the doorbell, and it really is. It's a beautiful site, and I've been here so many times, and just like soaking it in and just experiencing it is just so beautiful. You really feel your tension just go away when you're drinking wine and sitting there in the Muskoka chairs. And
yeah, exactly. And so this has those 3 Syrahs. 11% is the Viognier in this, and then it makes it a reserve. This is majority is American oak, so which really pushes the Syrah. That really peppery. Nice. Yeah. You get this like beautiful reduction, which is. This is that like smoked meat kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
And so like I brought it into these 6 wines because, you got this Pinot, which is like nice and light and fresh.
And this is just
and then it's like, okay, you're doing barbecue. Like you're prepping for barbecue, you're having Pinot. You're having Viognier. If you're doing fish or salmon, or even if you're doing, you can even have ribs with the Fumé Blanc. Or chicken. But like when you're prepping your meat, for the barbecue or whatever you're doing, vegetables, have your Pinot. And then when you eat the vegetables and you have your meat or whatever you're doing on the barbecue, that Reserve Syrah is perfect. Like you get that pepper. You don't even need to season your meat. You know?
don't. You could actually marinate your meat in that, but that would be a shame because that's a really great bottle. But it's so full-bodied, and the flavor is just absolutely amazing. It's so good. The reserves here are absolutely top-notch.
Mm-hmm. So kudos to Vadim because he made that blend really easy for me. So all I had to do was just choose the barrels and put them together. I mean, there was a little bit of tweaking what barrels I wanted. That was the only tweak. There's no tweaking with acid. The acidity was perfect. It's completely dry. And this spent about 17 months in French and American, mainly new French or American French oak. It's about 35% new American. And then the rest of it is all French oak in the blend, which is like second fill, third fill, and we have some fourths on that one.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the future when we can taste, like all the Cab Francs and things that you are responsible for, my friend.
Anytime, yeah.
Because I'm sure that they're going to be absolutely spectacular.
Yeah, they're showing really well in the cellar. The last wine was put to bed, which was our Chardonnay, a barrel-aged Chardonnay, and that was put to bed or sulfured in March.
Wow.
So it was going through I had some wild ferments or natural ferments happening with even mallow and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I played with. And I told myself, just stick it out for a year and don't do a basic harvest, but just, make sure you don't do anything crazy. Well, that went out the book. I threw that book out real quick.
Color me surprised.
And literally, the first day we harvested last year, this is just a fun story, but the first day we harvested last year for the first fruit we brought in was on it was a birthday. And it was the birthday, not just of me, but also my assistant, Heather. So we shared the same birthday, and I'm like, that's wild. Okay, so yeah, we will take time off. We're gonna process this fruit, and we're gonna go. But we celebrated with some good champagne.
As you would.
And that was the kickoff. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like, this is so surreal. Even applying for the job, I'm like, there's so many factors that have made this all happen. And I think if you just manifest, that was the biggest thing. The universe
doesn't make mistakes.
Absolutely not.
So you're meant to be here.
Like, otherwise I would have been in Australia, but I'm not. Yeah. And I'm happy I'm not, but I wish I was in Australia too, because I love that part of the world. And one day I will go back and I will retire. But right now
you're where you need to be.
Right now I'm here and I get to work with the grape that I love so much, which is Syrah. And yeah. And also working with the Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, Merlot.
I can't wait to see what you do with Bubbly in the future.
We're doing Bubbly this year.
See, can't wait.
Yeah, so
that's my fave.
Pinot Chardonnay. We're doing Gamay Rosé this year. We're doing some Riesling. And so we got some wicked spots for that. Good growers just down the street. So I'm super pumped.
See, listener, you got to come out here and visit Kacaba.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be great. And you know what? Chris is always around, so you can always stop and have a conversation with him.
Bother me. No. And I'll talk your head off.
Don't bother me. It's like, bother me. Don't bother me. Chris, it's been such a pleasure to speak with you today.
Thank you very much.
We've had so much fun with you. So listener, be sure to check out, Spill the Wine. And our show notes will have we'll have photos of all the wines we've tasted. We'll have links to everything here, to the podcast, not the podcast, to the website for Kacaba. And be sure to like and follow Spill the Wine on all platforms. On Facebook, we're Spill the Wine podcast. And on Instagram, it's Spill the Wine _ podcast. And we have a website, spillthewine.ca. So you can email us and ask us for, not ask us, but you can actually talk to us and tell us what you'd like us to explore winery-wise. At spillthewine, contact at spillthewine.ca or spillthewine@gmail.com. So thank you very much, Chris. Cheers.
Cheers, Andrea. Thank you.
We'll see you guys next time.